Hey, what's up? This is Dilio, and this is my Phantom '06 review. Now, the Phantom '06 is a new keyboard that was released from Roland. It is sort of a slimmed down version of the 6 series. So let me break this down because it was confusing to me. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a '06. I thought they had a keyboard that had a little bit more on it. So they have a Phantom 6, 7, and 8. And then they have a '06, '07, and '08. If you're a Yamaha user, it's like having a Montage and an MODX, right? You got the Montage that has everything under the sun in it, and then the MODX has sort of the slim version. So Roland has this more economical solution that is still powerful. And the reason I'm doing this review because I had the benefit of hanging out with DJ MPC KEY. Shout out to him. Be sure to check out his channel. We sat down, looked at that keyboard, and I was finally getting my hands on this keyboard and enjoy some of the sounds on it. You know, Roland keyboards have a great sound. I can't deny that. They are well built. They are professional keyboards. One thing that you will know that if you get a Roland keyboard, you're going to have good sounds. It's going to sound great. It's came a long way. I have a Phantom X6 in the background there, which had good sounds, but now a lot of things are more refined on it, and it's a more robust platform. And so playing the sounds from the pianos to the instruments, they all sound good. One thing that I didn't like, and I don't like a lot of the Roland keyboards, is the pads. I'm spoiled because I have MPC pads here, so I like the MPC pads best. I do feel like the machine pads are a little bit better. I feel like you got a little bit more dynamic range on your pads on the machine controllers. I will say that, but back to the Roland keyboard. So this keyboard, I didn't like the pads, and sometimes if you press a button the wrong way, you start going into a different mode. And then I tried to dive into the sequencer because of my experience and maybe my bias of working with different platforms. I couldn't really quite get the sequencer to work. However, I have struggled with sequencers a lot of times on the Roland series. Like I can remember back to the MC 909. Now, the Roland MC 909 Groovebox was a really cool platform, but I hated working with a sequencer, and that's coming from working with a lot of different sequencers. I just didn't like it, and when I tried to do things, I thought, oh yeah, I could do that. No, you can't do that on that platform. There's a learning curve with the sequencer on here, but it can be learned. The thing is with a lot of this stuff, it's like you have to really like use it by itself, so you don't get distracted by the way you do other things on other platforms. So the sequencer I wasn't a fan of. Now, also, the legacy sounds were pretty cool because, like, I found like sounds from the Roland D50 on there, the SAEP electric piano that you would normally see on the 1080 JV module series. That's in there, and it also has a Zencore engine, which lets you upload other legacy sounds right into it, which is really cool. So you actually get more bang for your buck because you're actually getting high quality sounds uploaded up in there. I was messing with some of the drum sounds and things of that nature. It's like, wait a minute, that's not an 808 and 909, but as I dive further into it, and I'm telling you, this thing has a lot of sounds, and thankfully, because of this touch screen and the tabs you can work with, you can browse a lot of sounds in there because it has a lot of sounds, which is great, and they're high quality. And if I were to compare that to the MPC Keys, I would have to still give the nod to the Phantom because of their experience and working with piano and instrument sounds and dealing with that platform. And also one thing that the Phantom '06 has over the MPC Keys is that the Phantom '06 will load those sounds instantaneous. When I try to load piano sounds on the MPC Live standalone, what happens is that some of the sounds, you got a little loading dialogue there, so it has to load up. With the Phantom series, every sound loads up instantaneously, as all keyboard workstations do. This is not something new, and you're definitely going to get a little bit more elements into it. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I started to kind of look under the hood of the presets of the Phantom '06 and saw that each sound had 4 partials that are multi-sampled. So you got 4 partials to each sound. Those things are multi-sampled. And then those samples, they have different sample layers and stuff like that. It gets really complicated really fast when you're dealing with your own sound design. And it takes a lot of work to get those things to sound as realistic as they do. The keybed itself was really nice. Definitely had a good, solid platform. As I like to say, you can feel the felt under the keys and then feel clicky. Very high quality. I believe it does have aftertouch. And the interesting thing also is that you also get a pitch bend wheel. You get the traditional Roland pitch bend joystick where you go left and right. You can tilt it forward. But then on top of that, you also had a standard pitch bend and standard modulation and some modes to change your instruments, which is really cool. Now, I think that the sounds are really high quality, and I think it's a great platform. However, for gigging, it's good because it wasn't that heavy. If you're a keyboard player and you're not trying to sequence on it, I think it's great. You can sequence on it, but I'm biased because I just like how the sequencer works on the MPC One when I'm doing grooves and things like that. And I probably would control the Fantom from this because I'm so able to move so fast on here and create grooves so quickly on it because I'm very familiar with it. You probably can do the same thing on the Fantom if you take time to just use the Fantom by itself with the sequencer. You're probably going to get around with it really fast. However, it's coming from an established brand. So even though Akai is starting to step their feet into the water of the keyboard workstation sounds, and which they have a great entry into, but they still are not as broad or has the legacy of sounds that a Roland keyboard has, because the Roland definitely has a longer legacy of having keyboard sounds, whereas Akai has a longer legacy of dealing with samples and sequencing. And the traditional way that I've seen people work with both of those is that the MPC handled the sequencing, but the keyboard handled the sounds. So if I were to pick, for me, with my biased opinion, if I were to pick between two keyboards, between the Roland Fantom 06 and the MPC Key 61, I will lean to the MPC Key 61 solely because I do have a lot of good meat and potato songs right there. Sounds I can sample, and I can sequence very quickly and have good sounds. But if I simply was not interested in making beats and tracks like that, I would lean more towards the Fantom 06 because I believe it does sample, but I don't think that the sampling suite is as robust as it is on the Akai samplers. And so it's a trade-off. So either you get better sounds, you get this and that, or you get that and the other. Both are great tools and will bring a lot of musicians and producers a lot of joy in the years to come. I think it's a good thing, and that's my review of the Fantom 06. If you like this type of content, let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Dilio, and you're watching the DLT2K YouTube channel.